one of the best running backs in the NFL today, amassing over 1,900 yards past the age of 30, future Hall of Famer, and somebody that a lot of us thought was going to be the difference maker for the Baltimore Ravens to get them over the hump. And while he did his part and more, Derrick Henry, he's amazing. And it almost feels like he's been a Raven for longer than he has. But it's only been a year. Now, it should have been a year and a half if the trade would have went through 2 seasons, but it's only been about a year. And Derrick Henry is amazing. But who knew with all those accolades, and there's a lot that we didn't even mention, but who knew with all those traits and characteristics of a Derrick Henry that a professional pressure applier was also one of them. And that's exactly what he's doing this offseason. Derrick Henry is going on a public world tour of putting pressure on the Baltimore Ravens as an organization. And not in no disrespectful way at all, but this is a great kind of pressure. Y'all remember a couple of weeks ago when Derrick Henry at the Super Bowl, or the NFL honors, when he talked about how he wanted to retire a Baltimore Raven. What does that do? Well, that lets the Ravens know directly, like, hey, I'm in it for the long haul, but that lets the world know too, like, hey, I want to stay with this team. But what is something that the world currently knows about Derrick Henry and his contract? He ain't got no more guaranteed money. And Derrick Henry showed out this year. So that's basically Derrick Henry letting them know, like, look, I love the Ravens, but hey, I want to stay here. I only have one more year left on my deal, and it's not guaranteed. So, Ravens, let's talk some money. But in this recent podcast that he sat down with Mr. Micah Parsons, could he be a future Baltimore Raven? That would be nice, but him, and you know what, I'm going to just say it, future teammate Micah Parsons, hopefully, that'd be nice. But anyway, he sat down with Micah Parsons. He was talking a lot of different stuff when it comes to football and NFL and his just football life. But in this clip, he applied even more pressure to our favorite football team.
Super Bowl is the last thing that you need?
I want the Super Bowl. I got to have it, bro. I need it. I don't be depressed if I don't get it. I got to get a Super Bowl. Please.
You know,
Lord, right now, please. If you hear me.
I hate to do this to you, dog. You got to do what Shady did.
You talking about when he joined? No, bro. I'm not doing that. I can't.
If you can't beat him, join him.
No, I'm not. Not at all. I'm playing with a quarterback I always wanted to play with, so.
In the next 4 or 5 years, once I hit that 30, and I'm not where I need to be, if that ring not right here in a minute,
you're not going to do that, man. You're not going to do that.
Hey, I got to get me a ring too, dog.
Now, that clip wasn't even a minute long, but in my opinion, Derrick Henry said a whole lot in very few words. Now, real quick, shout out to Micah Parsons. Hopefully, Derrick Henry's future teammate. And I got to specify that I mean that with the Baltimore Ravens, because you know some other stuff could happen and they could be future teammates somewhere else, but we don't want that. But Micah Parsons, he kept it all the way real. That man said, look, if I ain't got that ring by 30, if it ain't where it needs to be, then, hey, look, I'm headed to Kansas City. That man said, hey, I'm doing ring chasing. And look, I can't be mad at anybody who decides to do that with their professional life. He like, look, he will have obviously gotten paid by then. But then he said, if he gets paid and don't get a ring too, then he moving on. But anyway, Derrick Henry, his response to that, he said, oh, no. I'm not doing that. I'm playing with the quarterback that I've always wanted to play with. More pressure to the Baltimore Ravens, because this is not just any free agent running back that's saying this. This is not just some random halfback that you got on your team. No. This is Derrick Henry, a Hall of Famer, who's letting you know, another public reminder, like we said earlier, another public reminder, like, hey, I'm in it. I'm here, and this is exactly where I want to be. Now, if I take you back even further than the NFL honors, where Derrick Henry said, oh, yeah, I want to retire a Raven, when he was talking to Diana Rossini. But even before that, at the Baltimore Ravens end of season press conference, Eric DeCosta said, oh, yeah, we're probably going to talk to Derrick Henry about a contract extension. And Derrick Henry went, boom, he went straight to social media and said, run it back. So Derrick Henry, he keep on dropping all these little hints. But these hints, they ain't so little, man. They really not. But back to this clip with Micah Parsons. Let's back up before Derrick Henry said he ain't switching sides. And again, we appreciate his public declaration of love for Lamar Jackson. But let's back up a little bit before that. In that same clip, Derrick Henry said, I need it. I got to get it. And that he was talking about was the Super Bowl. Now, what that does, in my opinion, to the Baltimore Ravens, what that shows the Baltimore Ravens as an organization, it's like, let's do what we need to do in order to get over the hump. Because Lamar Jackson, he says it all the time. That's all he cares about. That's it. That's all he cares about. But Lamar Jackson, he literally been saying that since he got drafted. He said, y'all gonna get a Super Bowl out of me. And I do, despite everything that has happened, despite everything that has went down, I do believe it'll happen one day. What day will that be? Who knows? But it's one thing if you're a parent sometimes, or if you're even the kid, but it's one thing if somebody who you know, somebody who you talk to every single day, if they saying something to you, somebody that you've known for a really, really long time, if they trying to give this message to you, but you might not be hearing it the same way. It hits different when it comes from somebody else, that same exact message. And obviously the Baltimore Ravens, they should have taken it more seriously, especially back on the rookie deal. But anyway, they've been hearing this from Lamar Jackson for the longest. Y'all gonna get a Super Bowl out of me. All I care about is the Super Bowl. Yeah, MVPs are cool, but all I want is the Super Bowl. That's all that's on my mind. Super Bowl. And they probably like, okay, yeah, Lamar, Super Bowl's on your mind. But then this Hall of Famer, this guy, and remember last offseason, it was reported that the Baltimore Ravens, they wanted a running back that had a pedigree, a strong pedigree. So they wanted a running back that had a strong background, not just any random running back. They wanted somebody who was like that. And they got it. They made it happen. And Derrick Henry was such a great addition to the Baltimore Ravens. But this is Derrick Henry telling you, like, hey, no, I got to get it. And he's letting it be known that he got to get it with the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens, don't let this man down. You need to step your game up to where, and we've talked about how, like, we can be so lost on what the Baltimore Ravens need to do in order to get past the issues, get over the hump. And I think we might have a solution, because obviously the coaching, they have their issues, but if the coaching is going to coach the same way that they've been coaching, again, last year in the AFC divisional game, coaching is not what lost in the game. It contributed a bit here and there, but all right, cool. And if you have a good amount of really good players on your team, all right, cool. But you know what? Let's do this. Let's overcompensate when it comes to personnel. And what I mean when I say that is, like, all right, if Ravens are going to have their issues, if they're going to make their mistakes, and we just keep coming up that short every time, that short. It ain't like we're getting blown out in these playoff games. It ain't like we're getting dog walked in these playoff games. No. We're coming up that short. Let's overcompensate by really making this roster right. Like really to where it's like no excuses in the roster. They can overcompensate any issues that the team is having with coaching. To where this roster, they can overcompensate any possible playoff turnovers, because that's been the Ravens' Achilles heel in these playoffs. Let's have the roster overcompensate to a defense that hasn't been forcing many turnovers, like hardly any turnovers in the Lamar Jackson playoff games that he starts. Let's do that. Eric DaCosta, with Derrick Henry speaking like he's been speaking, you have one offseason to respond, my friend. It's going to be interesting to see how Eric DaCosta and these Baltimore Ravens respond to Derrick Henry. But before we continue, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on so you can stay up to date with everything going down with our Baltimore Ravens, and also leave a like on the video, because we love that we've entered my favorite part of these videos where we get to feature your questions. If you would like to take part in it, you can send an email to teamkeepitclean@gmail.com, or for the patrons, you can send a DM directly on Patreon. And if you'd like to join them and become one, you can go to patreon.com/Ingravenvids. Now, first question came from Keyonte. He said, yo, Ingraven. Yo, Keyonte. He said, it's been a while since I put in a question. Hope the fam is good and everything is moving at Godspeed for you, brothers. I see you posted about a trade for Debo, and it looks like we won't have to trade for him, seeing as he would be a post-June 1st cut. Oh, well, we did talk about that in that video too, where he said that would be like, if they were to trade for Debo, I don't think it would be worth it. I don't think it would be a good move financially because of the injury history. And it's funny because literally the day after we posted that video, because we talked about with Debo Samuel, we remember we heard some stuff about his weight last season, but the injury history was still there. It has been there for a while. But then the very next day after you posted that video, a report came out, Debo Samuel is currently like 20 pounds overweight. And I said, oh boy, yikes. And who knows how true it is or not. And we know with football players, they can shed off the weight like that. And he's in off season. He's been in off season mode for a while, so he's probably chilling and whatnot. Like, I'm good. But anyway, I was like, that timing was crazy. He said he would be a perfect fit to pair with Henry, Zay, Bateman, and the gang. I agree. I agree. He would be a great fit with how he plays, everything that he does. Debo would be an amazing fit for the Ravens, like straight up. Because he would complement those guys. Well, he's not that big body receiver, but the way that he plays and the way that he would be used, I feel like he would fit in perfectly. Anyway, he said, my biggest question is, we have had some surprise slides in the draft the last 2 years, and it's worked in our favor. Do you think we get one this year, and who would you hope it would be? Personally, I hope we get Amarion Hampton down at 27. I know running back is crowded, but with our backs, injuries come at the worst times. Can't have too many. What are your thoughts? Oof. How many running backs you want? We got 4 on the team right now. 4. We got Derrick Henry, obviously, and we were just talking about him earlier. We got Justice Hill, who is a baller. We got Keaton Mitchell, who first year he balled. This second year, coming back from injury, he was always just in a weird spot, and the Ravens never got him going, and they kind of silently almost shut him down toward his back half of his return. But then somebody who a lot of people forget about, Ravens still got Rasheen Ali. Now, I'm not saying that you can never upgrade the position. Just because you have 4, it doesn't mean you can't upgrade one of those spots. But Ravens got a lot of running backs. They got a whole lot of backs right now. Now, I will say, and this is not an assumption, this is from what we saw when the games were going on. Lamar Jackson clearly has a connection with Derrick Henry, obviously. Obviously got the connection with Justice Hill, but also has it with Keaton Mitchell, too. But I noticed when Rasheen Ali was in the game, Rasheen Ali, even on passing downs too, when he would go out on a little route, Lamar would not even look his way. So it seemed like Lamar, that connection ain't there. And Rasheen Ali was a rookie with Derrick Henry, but that was Derrick Henry, his rookie year with the Ravens. So, but he was also the starter. And then Justice Hill, obviously Lamar Jackson and Justice Hill go back. And then Keaton Mitchell, like last year, him and Lamar, they established that connection like that. But with Rasheen Ali, it just was not there. So if the Ravens went in a different direction at running back, I don't really expect them to. But Ravens, you really just never know. But I feel like that would be their target area right there, sort of that 4th running back. But is that really a priority, especially at 27? A 5th running back and potentially to take over as a 4th running back, that would be a very, very interesting one. As far as me, I don't have any thoughts on it as of right now. I have not been looking at any college thing. I'm still trying to get caught up on questions. That's how far back I am. But we will get to that eventually and come up with some people that we want the Baltimore Ravens to make a move for in the draft. Next question came from my guy, Nigel. He said, greetings. My biggest takeaway from the Super Bowl was we are close, real close. It's true. Ravens are right there, man. They're right there. And it's like, what's annoying about the Ravens is that who knows where they would be without all these turnovers. Because AFC Championship 2 years ago, Zay Flowers fumble, Lamar Jackson interception, and they lose the game by 7 points. Oh, who knows how close the Ravens would be this year in a divisional game. Lamar interception, Lamar fumble, Mark Andrews fumble, Mark Andrews dropped 2-point conversion. And it's like, and the other 2-point conversion early in the game that was unsuccessful too. And the Ravens lose by 2 points, man. That's what's so crazy. That's what people, when people say Ravens are close, like it ain't just no fan thing. We can say they literally right there. They literally right there. But anyway, he said, EDC, upgrade this O-line and we get a corner. We win in 2 of them. And the crazy part is AJ got called for offensive pass interference, but Keon Coleman didn't in our game. Now, hey, look, That AJ Brown call, that was a good call. It really was. It was a good call. I know people saying, "Oh man, what was that? That was a bad call. The Chiefs getting the calls." That was a good call, in my opinion, because he was running. I think it was Trent McDuffie. They were running stride for stride with each other. Trent McDuffie was just a step behind though. And then AJ Brown, he extended his arm, turned his face mask. He literally pushed him in the face, and then caught the ball. So is that like if that was a Ravens cornerback? Oh, I know all y'all would be saying, "Hey, PI." And with the one Keon Coleman did, that should have been OPI because that was clear too. But it ain't go in our favor, obviously. And he said, "Hey, I'm out," like Hobbs shaking up the defensive staff. Next question came from my guy, J.O. Oh, my God, what's salty. He said, "I don't think anybody's watching this Super Bowl, really, man. This is probably going to have the worst viewed Super Bowl in history." Oh, no, people will watch. They were watching a lot. Even if a lot of them were just watching for Kendrick to see what he was going to do, they were watching. But, no, it's Super Bowl, so people are always going to watch. He said, "We've seen this story before. Another trying to chalk it up to the Chiefs can't get it done. I think it's like halfway through. I don't really know or care. I'm just catching glances on my phone while I watch Jurassic Park on NBC. Nobody cares." No, that ended up being wrong. A lot of people care. We all care. I cared. A lot of us Ravens fans cared because it was nice to see somebody dismantle the Chiefs. Yeah, we wish it could have been us in the AFC Championship, but Ravens got to get over their own hurdles first before they can even cross the hurdle that is the Kansas City Chiefs. But a lot of people cared and it gave us Ravens fans a reminder of a lot of things of how it can be done and what they should be doing, and that the Ravens, they are very close, but they still got some significant strides to make. Speaking of hurdles to make, next question came from my guy Real Raw Reckless. He said, "Nobody beats the Ravens like the Ravens." What up, Ingravenvids Team? Keep it clean. Hope everyone is having a blessed one, man. Man, it's a rough morning here in B-More. This was right after the game. He said, "Temperatures are in the single digits and a wind chill, and our beloved Ravens are eliminated. How is it that we keep getting in our own way? We were the better team out there, and you can see that by all the mistakes what we made, and we still had a chance. We bring in Derrick Henry, and he was supposed to help get us over the hurdle, but once again, we go away from what we should have done more of, and that's run Derrick Henry. He may get stuffed here and there, but eventually the defense starts to make business decisions and start to not want to tackle him in the second half because of his big body, and it's been wearing on them. Lamar was playing like playoff Lamar in the first half, but he said, now that's true what you said about Derrick Henry. It should have been more use of him earlier. And like you said, he wears defenses down. And he said Lamar's playing like a playoff Lamar in his first half, but he started playing like this season Lamar in the second half. That's real. That's real. And he said, when we got the ball in the third quarter and we started to run the ball and we went down there and scored a touchdown, I thought, okay, we about to run the ball down their throats and take this game over. But too little, too late. What is up with not running Derrick Henry when we go for 2-point conversions? We tried the first 2-point conversion and the pass got deflected. Then we tried for the second one and we dropped the ball, literally. It's a game of momentum, and when you turn the ball over, you also turn over momentum. That's true. Now, to that question that you asked about the 2-point conversions, let's start with that one first. The Ravens, even in that game alone, the 2-point conversion plays that were called were excellent. They were great. They were great plays because they had the pass catcher. I think for the first one it was intended for Likely, I believe, but it got swatted down. And then the next one was Mark Andrews, and obviously he dropped it. So it's not like the play calls were bad. It was execution. Execution. That's it. Execution. The play calls were great though. So I know people have said, "Oh yeah, let's just give it to Derrick Henry on them 2-point conversions." I see where you're coming from, because you got Derrick Henry, you be running from the 2-yard line, so it'll be like, "Oh yeah, can we not get in from there?" But you only got one chance, you got one shot. So I mean, hey, it could work because it's Derrick Henry. But then at the same time, I just know, man. If it didn't work and Derrick Henry got stuffed, so many fans will be like, "Oh, see, hey, why are we doing such an obvious play for a 2-point conversion? Why are we just running the ball? Teams knew that was coming." So anyway, he said, after Mark Andrews fumbled the ball, the momentum went to the Bills and they turned the turnover into points. The momentum went to them, but they only got a field goal off of that. Ravens defense held them. They only got a field goal off of that. So I can't say they completely took the momentum because I don't think they did. It kind of shifted in their favor because that's a big turnover. Like the fumble right there in that situation, it's like, ooh. But Ravens defense did what they had to do. He said, momentum goes to Buffalo. Mark Andrews is in his head, and that equaled the end of the ball game. I believe we should have ran with the ball with Henry controlled the game clock and kept Allen off the field. Now that part, when you talk about it being in his head, that's significant right there because that's the mental part of the game. And that's even bigger than the physical part of the game. The psychology of football, that's big right there. So what you're saying right there, I do not disagree with. That it was in his head because he just fumbled the ball. He literally just fumbled the ball on the drive before, and then the very next drive, you get a touchdown, and then you go right back to him. And again, play call was just fine, but he dropped it. So could he have been overthinking? Could he have been just still thinking about that? Who knows? But it happened the way it happened, and that was that. He said he can't beat us and make plays if he isn't on the field. He's talking about Josh Allen. He said, I'm so sorry for the long rant, but I'm just so mad and disappointed. My question to you is, what do you think we need personnel and coaching-wise to get us over the hump? See, good question, because we were just talking about that earlier. Again, overcompensate. Load this roster up even more than you've loaded it up the past 2 years. Because there's been some good rosters the past 2 years. We can't deny that. But there's some areas where they could definitely get even better. So let that loaded roster overcompensate for coaching. Let it overcompensate for turnovers. Let it overcompensate for everything, and just to where like we are very, very strong in 9 out of 10 areas in order to succeed. Because again, Eagle Shoulder can be done. You could do it, and you could be paying a bunch of different people too. You can make it happen. And we always say over here, we say, if you want to make something happen, you can make it happen. He said, much blessings to you and Team Keep It Clean. And like Brandon Stevens and the lights at the bank, I'm out. Ooh, that's really, really sad. But he did say hashtag Super Bowl 2026.